Hey, truth seekers, welcome back. Zach here. It's April 23rd, the 113th day of the calendar year. Today, YouTube turns 12 years old. We're going to talk about why YouTube, this is their birthday. It's no coincidence that the first YouTube video was uploaded on the 113th day of the year, a date that has everything to do with Jewish dishonesty. After we talk about YouTube's birthday, we're going to talk about NASA, an organization that loves 113, and we're going to talk about the destruction of the Challenger and Columbia space shuttles, which were purposeful propaganda. Propaganda that impacted a lot of people, especially the 1986 Challenger mission. So today, April 23rd, 2017, YouTube is 12 years old today. The first video ever uploaded on this date, called Me at the Zoo. We'll get to that title. April 23rd, the 113th day of the year in non-leap years. 2017, a non-leap year. 2005, the birth of YouTube, a non-leap year. In the Talmud, Baba Kama 113a says it's okay for somebody who's Jewish to lie to somebody who isn't. Somebody who's Jewish can lie to somebody who is not. And if you're not aware, the English language, created by Jewish Freemasons and built on the numerical system known as Gematria. Gematria, a Jewish Masonic practice. The United States of America, a Jewish Masonic English-speaking nation. YouTube, established in the United States of America. Look at this. 113, number coded all the time in propaganda. Mainstream 113, dishonest 113, perverted 113, not true 113, not honest 113, not factual 113, disinfo 113. And I just want to pause right there. As someone who uses YouTube to put out the truth, I expose YouTube for what it is just by doing my work. Since the moment I got here, since the time I've had 100 subscribers, YouTube has always squashed my stats. Gotten rid of subscribers, made it so people can't subscribe to the channel, kept my videos out of people's feeds who are even subscribed. YouTube does everything in their power to squash my videos so they have a minimal impact, while at the same time promoting propagandists and paid-for liars and deceivers. Look at all these shield channels that attack me, who put out nothing but trash, nothing that benefits anyone's mind, just pure disinfo. And look at how many likes their videos get. A con man on YouTube who uses YouTube to fleece money from gullible people, running scams online, running nothing but lies and false promotions. YouTube lets those videos with the lies and disinfo get thousands of likes. They let channels like Mark Dice, who promote hate and division and racism, the same type of way a Bill O'Reilly does on the TV. YouTube lets those channels get millions of views that promote the Jewish hate agenda. If you don't know that there's a Jewish hate agenda, and I don't mean to hate Jewish people, I mean Jewish people promoting hate amongst all people. If you don't know that that's a real agenda, you really need to wake up. Your media is run by Jewish Zionist filth. It's always promoted division amongst race, religion, and everything else, except for against the Jewish people. Just pay attention to your media. It's all the same. It demonizes everyone, stereotypes everyone, but then constantly reminds that you can't say anything about the Jewish people. So everyone but the Jewish people. Constant, nonstop. So 113, again, disinfo, perjury, which has to do with being dishonest, especially in court. A Jewish person would come here and say that Bava Kama 113a only applies to a legal setting. Well, guess what? Nations are legal settings. So this Bava Kama 113a, anybody wants to tell you that that only applies to a legal setting? We live in a world of laws and legality, which means that this Jewish filth Bava Kama 113a rule applies everywhere. And that's why the Jewish Hollywood Zionists code this number in the backgrounds of their movies and sitcoms again and again. The media that they control, they code it in their headlines again and again, as I reveal on the daily, multiple times a day. The word fiction 113, the word bullshit 113. Again, the 1976 film Network If you've never seen that film, you've never seen the best movie ever made. And it really is. The movie explains everything about the world we're living in. False news, fake terrorism, all about control and steering people for corporate gain. The movie spells it all out. It's a world of profit and corporations and not people or truth. It's a world that runs on bullshit. 113. All explained in Network 1976. Think about the green screen, how it's used for deception. Think about CNN getting in front of the green screen and pretending like they're in some part of the world, in some battle scene. The things the news does all the time. It's more than just CNN. George Lucas, the master of the green screen, his first film about a police state, a propaganda state called THX 1138. George Lucas, first film. George Lucas is another nobody. Another person that fronts for the Jewish Masonic Zionists. Just like this kid that they said created YouTube. He didn't create YouTube, just like Mark Zuckerberg didn't create YouTube. Mark Zuckerberg has the same birthday as Israel's Independence Day and goes around with the Star of David on the inside of his hoodie. Do the math. My favorite 113 of all time possibly is Piltdown Man. Look this up. Piltdown Man. Taught as hard science fact for 41 years as proof of evolution before it was admitted an elaborate hoax, a farce, a lie. For 41 years, Piltdown Man was taught as scientific truth that evolution was real and whites were the superior race because they were the most evolved. After 41 years, that was finally revealed to be a lie. For 41 years, people paid to go to college to learn that. And the same thing goes on to this day. People going to college to pay for lies. The trial of the century, all bullshit, all by the numbers, the whole thing a fake, made-for-TV production to distract the masses. The O.J. Simpson trial, 113, just like Ron Goldman. If you've never seen my work on O.J. Simpson, it was all a tribute to his 1968 Heisman season. Truly. Everything about the O.J. Simpson story is all about his 1968 Heisman season. That's how they coded out the whole ritual. See my work on it. The NBA, run by Zionist Jews. It used to be the little midget, David Stern. Now it's the man that I'm pretty sure was born on another planet, Adam Silver. But anyway, David Stern said the NBA is not about basketball. It's about creating stars. The name Stern is a German name for star. Anyway, NBA, professional sports, it's all rigged distraction. All by the numbers. Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, who David Stern built the league around in the time he was there. Both 113. Two men with similar careers. Kobe Bryant's retirement poem was Dear Basketball. Both players retired against the Utah Jazz. For Kobe's final game, it was even synced up with the murder of Moses Malone, which is another Jewish Zionist practice, ritually sacrificing people by the numbers. All part of the synagogue of Satan. So NASA, we're going to get into NASA. NASA was established in history on a date with 113 numerology. NASA, run by Freemasonry. Freemasonry is Judaism for the Gentiles. Freemasonry based in the Old Testament, Jewish history, Solomon's Temple. A way of indoctrinating the Goy into Jewish doctrine is what Freemasonry is. NASA, again, established on a date with 113 numerology. And Scottish equals 113, as in Scottish Rite Freemasonry, which is the very, very Jewish branch. As for the date April 23rd being the 113th day of the year, it's amazing that April 23rd sums to 93 like propaganda, the Jewish pastime of misleading the masses, steering the masses astray, constant false programming, false propaganda, what we get 24/7, 365, through all Jewish outlets. YouTube has no problem promoting nothing but filth and lies and deception. They'll boost those videos to the top, let them get thousands of likes, millions of views. A channel like mine that puts out real truth that can empower people's life, squashed to the bottom. So the 93, it's also the number for Saturn, which the Zionist Jews worship, the keeper of time. Everything about Zionist Israel is centered around 93. The nation was drawn up on September 3rd, which can be written 9/3 or 3/9, 39 books in the Old Testament that the Jews go by. Anyway, Saturn, the keeper of time. The first video uploaded on April 23rd is me at the zoo, 47, like time. The Freemasons have the 47-degree compass symbol that points at the pole star. The Freemasons have the 47th problem of Euclid about how to establish foundation based on the pole star, which is the North Star. Time 47, pole star 47, foundation 47. Me at the zoo, the first video for JewTube. You see? None of this is coincidence. It's all part of the plan. The Zionist nation of Israel, created in the year 47 on the 333rd day of the year, November 29th, by a 33-member vote by the United Nations. The date of the first video was also a date with 52 numerology, which connects to foundation, authority, government, and more. Another special number to Freemasonry, the date of the original upload. So, little more on NASA and 113, something I've never covered before. Derek, who built the Gematrinator, asked if I would take on the Columbia and Challenger disasters. Columbia was the mission that exploded in 2002, not long after September 11th. You know, we were getting hit with one tragedy after the next in the news. They said the space team was returning and their shuttle exploded coming through the atmosphere. That was the 113th space mission of all time, 113. And consider this. Consider that NASA has never been able to get out of the Earth's atmosphere. And everything we're told is part of an ongoing deception and lie, which is entirely possible. If that's true, that means that this didn't really happen. You know, no space shuttle really blew up or disintegrated when coming back through the atmosphere. And if you're not sure which one it is, I would lean towards it being a lie because almost everything we're told in this world is a lie. But what I want to show you is how Columbia syncs up with the Challenger disaster, which also has a lot to do with 113. So the Columbia mission was 113. I noticed that the word liftoff has gematria of 74, like Masonic 74, Jewish 74, Occult 74, Holiday 74, Independence Day 74, English 74, Gematria 74. Very special number to this nation and the Freemasons, the reflection of 47. But anyway, again, NASA, established on a date with 113 numerology, their 113th mission exploded. We know how the Zionist Jews love to give us explosions and violence. You know, you can't flip through the TV without seeing an explosion. It's nonstop. The date NASA was also established was a date with 94 numerology. Remember, when you write out 94, it sums to 147, like outer space, like Freemason, like conspiracy, like so many things in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. If you've never seen my work on the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy 42 and 147, it's all linked right here in this blog post, which is down in the description. It's the picture of the liftoff before the destruction. The date that this rocket or this space shuttle was destroyed was February 1st, 2003, the 32nd day of the year. Day number 32. 31 days in January, 32 is February 1st. The word disaster sums to 32, just like America. This is the date of the Space Shuttle Columbia disaster. NASA, everything they've ever done, from the beginning to the present, has been by the numbers, even their staged disasters. They say years earlier, in 86 is when the Challenger disaster happened. The Challenger disaster exploded at the 73rd second. Imagine if you were looking at a stopwatch with minutes and seconds. That would be 1 minute, 13 seconds. 113. A minute 13. 73, though, is also interesting because sacrifice equals 73, united equals 73, NASA 73. In addition to the 113 connections and the America connections for these incidents, Columbia has gematria of 50, just like Challenger, also like America. And all of this propaganda is created for the mind's eye of the masses, especially those people who live in this nation. The Challenger disaster is something that my mom always thinks of. My mom's such a rambler. If you were ever around her, you'd notice she talks about the same 20 things like she is a record. My mom just talks about the same things on loop like she's never talked about before. My mother truly is like a human record, and I know there's a lot of women from her baby boomer generation that are the same way. But one of those 20 things she always talks about is this, the Challenger disaster. Now she saw it and how it scarred her mind. This day really upset my mother, and I'm sure it really upset a lot of other people. But that's the reason that NASA stages these things. Just look at the overlap. Propaganda for America. The day of the Challenger disaster, which was in 86, remember symbol equals 86, triangle 86, pyramid 86, citizen 86, republic 86. The date of that incident was a date with 35 numerology. NASA has the gematria of 35. So does the word I, like I, as in mind's eye, creating propaganda to fill up the mind's eye. The word Catholic has gematria of 35. Think about the Catholic Church in regards to the history of the space program, what we know about the world. Does the earth revolve around the sun, or does the sun revolve around the earth? It's always science in the Catholic Church. And the Catholic Church has the Masonic Jesuit order within, which has much influence over the history of this nation. I'm pretty sure the NASA 35 coding has a lot to do with those two things we just mentioned. The Catholic Church and, controlling the eye. At the Vatican, there's a big statue of the pine cone, and a lot of people say what that pine cone really is the pineal gland in your mind's eye, which looks a lot like a pine cone, known as your third eye. The date of this incident, the destruction of the Challenger, it was also a date with 115 numerology, Freemasons, the plural 115, Masonic 115, killing 115. It was also a date with 134 numerology. If you watch my channel for years I've been a little bit stumped on this number. I've always explained that this number has to do with destruction. That recent Matt Damon movie came out, I think it's called The Martian, where he gets stuck on Mars and he has to grow his own potatoes and survive. If you watch that film, every day, the way the film is it shows what day it is. It's like day 1, day 2, day 3, and then it skips days, day 40. Well, the day where his hut, where he's surviving, blows up and it looks like he's going to die, that's day number 134. And all throughout history, I've tracked so many times on this channel where it's 134 connection to a destructive event. I guess I'll show you something that I've learned. I don't want to say that this is what 134 is, but, I'm still looking for what the answer is to this. In the Kabbalah ciphers, in two of them, New World Order has gematria of 134. I'm asking, is that a coincidence? Is that what this is about, the New World Order? I don't know. I don't want to say that's it, but there is something that has to do with destruction and 134. That much I'm sure of. Also, with regards to the overlap of these two disasters, the word disasters 58, like science, like Freemasonry, like secret society. Remember, NASA established in 58. And for another good 58, my favorite one, in reduction, the name Rod Serling is 58. Rod Serling created his pilot episode of The Twilight Zone in 58, November of 58, which is about putting a man on the moon. Think about it. Same year NASA established, putting a man on the moon. Make sure I hit all our bases here, Truth Seeker. Yes, indeed. Also today, slightly related, today is the remembrance of St. George of Lydda, who's remembered in the Catholic Church as the greatest Christian martyr of all time. To prove his Christian faith, he sentenced his own self to death, killing himself on April 23rd, 303. April 23rd, the 113th day of the year on the modern calendar, is the day we remember this Christian martyr, St. George. He's remembered by the Catholic Church. The reason that's interesting is St. George of Lydda has gematria of 187, just like Society of Jesus, the name of the Jesuit order within the Catholic Church. His name, the Small Way, also has gematria of 88, just like Christian Martyr, and that's what he's remembered as, a Christian martyr. This gematria knowledge, it's old world knowledge. It's very much related to the spiritual texts of this world. It's very important to Freemasonry, the Catholic Church, things that are intertwined. The Zionist Jews, it's all intertwined. These are all control structures, government, religion, and they all work by these old world practices, the esoteric knowledge of gematria, numerology, astrology. Also, just because it's in the headlines right now, I put out a video on this last night. Erin Moran, murder by numbers, the latest murder by numbers. CNN's first headline, actress Erin Moran found dead, 113. And then they blame her death on an overdose, 113. Something I forgot to say in the video that I put out last night. If you missed my video, just subscribe here, check it out. Just put it out yesterday, April 22nd. The one thing I missed in that video is that in Satanic Gematria, the name Erin Moran equals 422, and she was murdered on April 22nd, 4/22. Remember, this Satanic Gematria, very special. Satanic Gematria equals 666. The way this cipher works, let's see if I can pull this up here. The way this cipher works is instead of A being 1 and Z being 26, A is 36. It begins with 36. Remember, if you count every number 1 through 36 together, it sums to 666. Number of the beast, Satanic Gematria, 666. Our English language is 26 letters for a reason. It's based on old world alphabets that were based in this same gematria code. Again, this practice is thousands of years old. That's why the people who use it are so, well established with it. They're part of a network that's been using it for a very long time, that created it. They know the ins and outs. It's a fluid language for them. For people who come to my work and see this for the first time, it blows their mind. They think it's impossible. They think man couldn't have done it. Well, that's because most people aren't that great at math. People who are good at math, it's not that difficult. It's just like if you put in the average person in like a third level calculus class and you had them sitting there, they'd say, oh, this is all bullshit. This is impossible. This doesn't even make sense. They would just think it's all ridiculous and pay no mind to it. Gematria is a lot easier than calculus, but the point is, people who aren't good at math, they don't appreciate it, they don't understand it, they just dismiss it and walk away from it. And, people do the same thing with gematria, even though it's simple enough a second or third grader could do it. But then again, that's where the average intelligence is of the average American, about a second or third grader. That's why they had that TV show, Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? And every episode's about reminding you how the fifth grader's way smarter than you. Americans have been purposefully made dumb by this game. You got to learn about what it says in the Talmud, where it says it's okay for Jews to lie to people. In the Talmud, it says goys are stupid. Goys are a lesser race. They're gullible. They're foolish. They're easily ruled over. They're easily satisfied. It's okay to lie to them and use them as slaves because they don't mind it. They're easily pacified. Just give them a little carrot. All explained in the Talmud about how dumb the goy is and how they are meant to be ruled over. And YouTube is part of that ruling. YouTube is a powerful thing on the internet, and it uses its power to push the lies and to discredit the truth. And you know what? Before we go, I got to call out a YouTube channel that's been on YouTube since the beginning, Montagraph. The 113. Montagraph is someone who's been making personal threats against me. In December, he put out a video threatening me on Christmas Eve. He said, you know what's coming on Christmas Eve? He's like, all the weirdos got your address, Zachary K. Hubbard. He put out this video in a mask, a black and white mask, threatening me for Christmas Eve. Well, lo and behold, my house was crashed into by a car on Christmas Eve that's caused a lot of inconvenience in my life. Wasted a lot of my time in 2017. I've been having to fight with insurance, trying to find a lawyer who can help me. I have to pay all these thousands of dollars to get my own house fixed because of what Washington state law is, when a drunk driver crashes into your house. If your house is built after a certain period of time, the insurance doesn't have to cover, much of the amount. Some gimmick in the state. Anyway, Montegraph. Days after that threat, then he goes on his channel and he tells a story about me and a drunk squirrel, or not a drunk squirrel, a dead squirrel. Me and a dead squirrel. Just goes on his channel and makes up this story about me and a dead squirrel. And lo and behold, a dead squirrel shows up on my property. Never had a dead squirrel the 5 years I've lived here, and right in the middle of my driveway. After that happened, people started researching, and people found that going back to 2009, other YouTube channels had been uploading videos letting know that Montegraph was killing animals, sending people threatening stuff in the mail, including dead animals, to make a point about get your truth message off YouTube or else. There's videos saying that Montegraph's connected to law enforcement. He's a paid-for shill, a government agent. Here, gatekeeping. Montegraph, 113, been on YouTube harassing, intimidating, threatening people. There's not a lot we can do in this world about the way the laws are set up. And plus, the authority runs the whole show so they can protect, the villains they employ, such as Montegraph. But I want people to realize this 113 number is real, and there's a lot of paid-for disinfo agents and shills. Here's one of Montegraph's buddies, ODD Reality, another one of the 113s. There's a number of these 113 characters on YouTube. ODD Reality, making videos attacking me, pushing false information. YouTube letting his channel grow rapidly, letting his channel get big views and likes. And what's he pushing? He's pushing the flat earth theory, something that YouTube loves. YouTube loves the flat earth theory. Why? Because it's disinfo. It's deception. It's a distraction. So YouTube supports that. Because the Zionist Jews, they're not about truth. They're about keeping people down and making them submit to the lies. Just noticed with those other ciphers, ODD Reality even has a 113 in his Kabbalah. How about that? Yeah, if you guys are caught up on that flat earth theory, you really need to pull your head out of your ass. Major YouTube shill movement. It's so easy to see. If you have logic and reason, you should understand that when YouTube, squashes certain things and then promotes the hell out of other things like the flat earth, letting all these videos get big views and likes. Use your brain, people. Where is it? Where is your mind? So just one more time. Appreciate all the 113. It's no question who built this language. No question at all. And I'm telling you, see my videos on the Piltdown Man. Google Doodle even had a tribute. Buy the numbers to Piltdown. It's sick. All right, Truth Seeker. Until next time.